This is my third video journal for cross-cultural counseling. The past couple of weeks have been pretty intense. There's been a lot of learning about, well, first refugees. That was probably one of the most memorable classes that I've had here at NC State so far. I don't know if I'll be working a lot with refugees as a college counselor, but I know that I'll probably at least encounter um, some refugees or people who are related to refugees, either children, um, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. The presence of refugees in the United States, although small, is there, and we need to be able to understand where they're coming from. Learning about refugees it was a moving experience, one that, after class made me look up what are the refugees like in Hawaii, what are some of the issues going on there. And it was just interesting to have that light shed on something that I didn't know about. I mean, maybe I'd heard about refugees, but I didn't know what they go through and why they're here and how they get here. It's just amazing to me when we were learning about them. You know, we get them here, and yet the services given to them after. I know there was a lot of talk in class about not providing them with enough services, but personally I think just bringing them here and giving them just some resources to get started, getting them out of that situation that they were in, is something. It may not be enough and it may not be everything, but it's something, and it got them out of that vicious environment that they were in. So learning about it really upset me, because it's sometimes humans just do things that we'll never understand why. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed learning about humans and human structures and environments in international relations in my undergrad. And it's why I'm in this program. Counseling is all about understanding the individual and how they relate to others, themselves, and their environment. And so learning about refugees was just another type of situation and human condition that we need to know about as counselors, because somewhere along the line we're going to be working with either refugees or people who are related to refugees or issues around refugees. Another amazing experience for me was working on the video journal, and I've learned so much about African American culture, and I feel like I'm more comfortable to approach African American clients and understand where they're coming from, understand some of the cultural traits that they have. And it was just interesting to see our textbook come to life and to see these theories that we learn about through the different interviews that we did, and to see the string of similarities between these men, from young kids to older gentlemen. It's amazing, and it was a very powerful project for me, and I know it also helped me discover that iMacs or Macintosh or Apples or however you want to call them are not that scary. So Neil, Michael, and I had a really good time working on this video, and it's educated me a lot, and I hope the class got as much from that video as I did. When Kelsey and her partner presented on Native Americans, like the refugees, I was like, how did I not know this before? I mean, I guess living in Hawaii, we have our own Native Americans, I guess Native Hawaiians, that we learn about and their displacement and things like that, but I didn't know much about Native Americans. In fact, I hardly knew anything at all. And it was just interesting because before that I went to the mountains and we looked over Cherokee and the casino, and I, at the time didn't know much about it, but now going back to the mountains of North Carolina and being able to see Cherokee, I'd love to go on the reservation and just maybe talk to some people about it. I think it would be a really moving experience. I know that in the residence halls we're planning diversity trips for our students, and this year we're going to Washington, D.C. for the Cherry Blossom Festival, but maybe next fall we can do a trip to Cherokee Nation and learn about Native Americans, because I don't think we have a lot of education focused on them. I think that'll be a good experience for me to develop as a counselor and then also as a culturally competent professional. What else did we learn about this week? Well, we just read the chapter on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and I guess it's just interesting that we're always lumped together, Asian American and Pacific Islander. I mean, there's so many different cultures within those two things, and they're always, those two categories, and they're always put together, and I've always wondered why. Granted, I guess the Philippines is in the Pacific Ocean, so they're Pacific Island chain, and I guess Thailand, Laos, Malaysia, I guess those are in the Pacific Ocean, but when I think of Pacific Islander, I don't necessarily think of Filipinos and Thai and Laotians, because I consider them Asian. I think of the Polynesians, and I guess growing up in Hawaii, it just comes back to that. There's not much research done there. Maybe that could be a potential research project. Who knows? But it's just interesting because in the beginning of the chapter, it talked a lot about, Asian Americans, and then sprinkled in a couple Pacific Islander references. But then after the first 2 pages, the rest of the chapter was about Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, and then Southeast Asian Americans. So with no references to how to work with Pacific Islanders. And I guess I'm just worried that going back, I guess it's just something I'll have to look up, is to see if there's any research, because I'm not sure if there is. So I'm still a little bit confused about theories regarding how to work with Hawaiians and how to work with Pacific Islanders, as in Polynesians, Samoans, Tongans, Tahitians. It's probably because the only place you'll find people of that background are in Hawaii. There's people obviously sprinkled all over the country with that background, but I'm sure the majority concentration is in Hawaii. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening.